And this is a continuation of our discussion of nouns, what you need to know, and only what you need to know. Now, we've already looked at definition and function, and in this very short video, we will look at the conventions of capitalization. This is material that you just have to learn. It's simply conventional. And the evidence for that, you can just look at documents that were written a couple of hundred years ago and you find that the conventions for capitalization may be entirely different. So, first question is, when do you capitalize? Basic rule, capitalize proper nouns. And that raises another question, which is, what is a proper noun? Or more properly, what counts as a proper noun? Proper nouns include the names of all languages, English, Spanish, French, Igbo, Korean. This is, by the way, different from some other languages that you may have learned. Spanish does not require the names of languages to be capitalized, nor does French. English does. Personal names such as Condoleezza Rice, Vladimir Putin, Everett Koop, and so on. Titles that are attached to names. Dr. Koop as a title. Everett Koop was Ronald Reagan's Surgeon General. So when Surgeon General appears before the name Everett Koop as a title, if you want to refer to him as former Surgeon General Everett Koop, you would capitalize Surgeon General. And his nieces and nephews, if he had any, would, of course, capitalize Uncle if they addressed him or referred to him as Uncle Ev. I have no idea whether or not they did. This is in contrast to just saying, this is my uncle, where you wouldn't capitalize the word uncle. Titles get a bit messy. So for instance, let's say we're talking about Condoleezza Rice, who is George W. Bush's National Security Advisor. We would say former National Security Advisor Rice. Now, former in that case is not capitalized because it's not part of the title. It's not like Dowager Duchess or something where you have something that is actually part of the title. So former is not the part that's capitalized. You don't conventionally refer to such a person as Advisor Rice. Advisor is not a title by itself, but curiously enough, she was also the, I believe, Secretary of State for a while, and Secretary Rice would be correct. Secretary can be used alone as a title. And that, again, is purely conventional. So it's worth knowing about those things. That's why you keep your copy of the AP style book close at hand. You capitalize formal titles used as part of a designation or name. Secretary of State Clinton, President Obama, Queen Elizabeth, Pope Benedict XVI, Lake Erie, and so on and so forth. However, those titles, if they are not attached to a name, are not capitalized according to the AP style book rule. So you refer to the Secretary of State, lowercase, the President, lowercase, the Queen, lowercase, the Pope, lowercase, and the Lake. You really should double check the style book because there are some rules that don't always seem to make sense. For example, Lake Erie and Lake Ontario referred separately, Lake is capitalized. But if you refer to them together, and I don't know what the AP style book was thinking, but it's Lakes, Erie, and Ontario. You don't capitalize the title. The Democratic Party, capitalized D and P, it's the formal name of the party. But if you refer to the party, just lowercase p. Manhattan, New York, the place, but the cocktail Manhattan isn't capitalized. So there are also things that seem logically to be proper names or titles that are not capitalized, like the periodic table and the international date line. Now, to make matters more confusing, there are some titles that are unofficial but are treated that is capitalized as if they were indeed proper names. So unofficial titles can sometimes be capitalized. The Badlands of South Dakota, not an official title, but it does get capitalized. The Green Zone in Baghdad, again, not an official title, but the term does get capitalized. And um, if you end up with a column for which you are paid tons and tons of money, I hope, and if you are, the University Alumni Program will be contacting you for some of that nice money. Let's get back to you having a nice column. You end up with a column, and let's say you introduce some regular feature like Scapegoat of the Week. Even though that's not official outside the bounds of your column, Scapegoat of the Week would be capitalized. Again, this is one of these cases of an unofficial title. So that's what you need to know about capitalization. The basic rule is proper nouns are capitalized, common nouns are not, but there are some very messy areas, and it's always a good idea to double check your style guide.